makers, I'm Joe the 3D Maker Noob, and here I have a bit of a letter. Now, before I tell you about this letter, there's a very short story that goes with it. So about a week ago, I had one of those days which I can only describe as the epitome of Murphy's Law. For those of you who don't know what Murphy's Law is, well, in context, it means that whatever could go wrong actually will. And it was one of those days where everything just absolutely went horribly wrong from start to almost finish. So the morning was abysmal. I don't want to get into that, but in the afternoon I started recording an episode. I went to edit the footage that I recorded, and I found out that my camera was out of focus. So at 11 o'clock at night I started re-recording the whole episode. I went to edit the footage and I found that it was still out of focus. And about 1 o'clock in the morning I realized that my settings on the camera changed from full HD to HD, so it was upscaling the image and therefore it looked like it was out of focus. And that was the final straw for that day for me. I went to go to bed and just be over and done with. However, just before I got into bed, I noticed there was a piece of paper sitting on my bedside table, and I turned it over and I found this. This is a letter that my 8-year-old daughter left me there, and it was one of the sweetest things I've ever experienced in my entire life. And for those of you who don't know, Kate is not my biological daughter, she's my stepdaughter, and I love her to bits as if she were my own. So something like this makes it extremely more special to me. Another thing I also know is that she's gonna grow up very soon, even faster than she is now. She's gonna be a teen, and at that point she's probably gonna hate me, hate her mother, hate the world, and I hate everything and everyone. That's what teens do. So I really want to cherish these moments. And I sat there in bed looking at this and thought to myself, I really want to do something special with this because it's a very special moment for me. So I really want to sort of like encompass or do something just to make it stand out more and, you know, have a bit more permanent, let's say. So I went to bed, I woke up in the morning and I had a bit of an idea. And today, I'm going to show you what exactly I did. So the first thing I did was I opened Inkscape. I don't use it much, but I use it because it has a feature which traces outlines of images. So I don't have to just literally trace over images on Fusion 360. I simply do a process here and then just import the SVG file into Fusion 360. To do that, I go to File and Open an image. In this case, of course, is the letter that Kate left me. So I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to go to Path. I'm going to trace bitmap. Now, if I click on live preview here, you can barely see faint lines. There are many settings in this to play around with. Honestly speaking, I don't know exactly what all of them do, but I know how to work a few of them. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust this brightness cutoff here. I'm going to increase it. And as you can see, the lines here are starting to show even more. And the higher I go with the threshold, the text on the letter starts showing more. So I'm gonna just go slightly higher there, just enough for me to actually see the text that's on the paper. Once that's done, I'm gonna click OK. I'm gonna close this off. And if I move it to the side here, I'm just gonna remove the original image, move this back to the center, make sure it's highlighted. Now on the side here, I'm just going to remove the fill. I'm going to go on stroke and I'm going to choose this here. Now, as you can see, it's showing me all the outlines. Next thing I want to do, just to make it look a bit more clear, I'm going to go on to stroke style and I'm going to increase the width of the lines. And as you can see, they become much more prominent, which is exactly what I need. Once that's done, I'm simply going to go on File, Save As, and I'm going to save as SVG. The next thing you're going to do is go into Fusion 360. I'm going to click on Insert and Insert SVG. I'm going to open the SVG and then just select the pane, which is going to be the top. And as you can see, it's there, slightly large. So we're just going to reduce the size. Once that goes in, you're going to click OK. So now, as you can see, it's pretty much a sketch on the top pane of Fusion 360. Now what we need to do is we need to start cleaning that up because I don't want the edge of the paper, I don't want those lines. All I want is the text, and the more of these extra lines we get rid of, the more RAM we're going to free, so it becomes much easier to print. In order to do that, simply press on the T, letter T, which is the trim tool, and start removing all these unnecessary lines. The next task is to separate the letters from the rest of the lines on the image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the letter L, the key, and which will initiate the line command, and I'll start drawing lines from one corner to the next in order to close off the letters. Now, seeing as these are quite small, it doesn't have to be perfectly curved as long as it closes off the letters within themselves. So you can then extrude them. Now, this took me quite a few hours because the computer was quite slow. As I went on, I tried to delete more unnecessary lines just to speed up the process quite a bit. And it worked perfectly fine. Once that was done, all I needed to do was simply select all the letters. As you can see, as I'm picking them up one by one, they're contained within themselves. I'm not picking up anything else from the line because that was the whole purpose of us using those lines to cut off the letters from the rest of them. Once I've selected all of them, what I decided to do is extrude everything 7mm because I knew that whatever I'm going to print doesn't have to be thicker than 7mm. Next, I decided that I want to put a date on this. So what I did was I went on to Sketch, I clicked on text, and then I simply adjusted the size. I wrote the date of the day, and I changed the font. I drew a square around the text itself because, you know, just to keep it like in a letter form. And then I also decided to extrude the date that I had written. And then I decided to extrude the base of the letter, the square that I had drew itself, by 4.6mm, just so I can have the text protrude further out from the rest of the letters, the hearts, and the date. Now, as it was already awesome, but I wanted to be a bit more special. I didn't want to just capture the text. I wanted to capture also the colors, the different colors used. So what I did was I chose the text which was in a particular color, and I made sure that it was extruded, well, less than the next color, because what I was about to do was I'm going to use the Prusa color print function, which changes the filament according to a specific layer. And I'm going to start printing white for the base. Then I'm going to go up and print the yellow heart, then slightly upwards and print the green letters, then slightly upwards again and print the pink, and finally the purple. And the reason why I chose those colors in that sequence was because it's easier for the green to print on the yellow than the yellow it is to print on the green, because it just makes it much more visible. So once I took note of the layers, I saved the STL file. I went on the prusaprinters.org page /color print. I uploaded the G-code, and I simply inserted the layer heights at which I wanted a color change to happen. And then it was simply a matter of grabbing that G-code that I had just modified, putting it on the SD card, throwing it on the Mark III, and make sure I have filament ready when the color change was about to happen. The result is this, and this is incredibly awesome. It's in 3D, it came out much better than I expected. The colors are the same as they were used on the letter. It's actually, I kind of scaled it up on Fusion 360 based on eyesight, It turned out to be almost identical in terms of the size of the letter, so I'm extremely happy with it. Then I designed this little stand as well in Fusion 360. It prints upward like this, so I can simply just put this next to my photos with my daughter. This is one of those things which I'm extremely proud of for a multitude of reasons, but having this as like a tangible memory is something I am extremely proud of. I'm sure some of you will end up doing this, and I want to take this a bit more to the extreme because I have a lot of drawings that Kate has done for me in the past. I have them in stacks of paper. Having them all like this, it would fill up the house very quickly. But those special ones, which mean something special to you, like very special, this is absolutely awesome. So I do recommend you try it out. And once done, and then you have a centerpiece to brag about with your family and friends. So that is it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you liked this episode. I do hope you like my idea. If you do, make one yourselves. Please let me know about it. Go on Twitter and tag me in the photo. I'd be more than happy to see what you've come up with. In the meantime, that is it for me, guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. And as always, happy making, guys.